welcome to the deep dive. You're here because you like to get informed quickly, but really thoroughly. And today we're diving into the world of a really interesting artist, Bob Camblin.
Oh yeah, Bob Camblin. He's super well recognized in the art world, but at the same time, he's kind of a mystery, you know?
Yeah.
And he's done just about everything you can think of, like oil paintings, acrylics, watercolors,
Wow.
drawings, prints. He even painted on paper.
Oh, cool.
And his art, people really want it. But
No,
it's
but sure.
hard to come by, which makes him even more of a mystery.
For this deep dive, I know you've gathered a lot of sources to help us understand him. So, what do we got?
Okay, so we've got some excerpts of his quotes, which are pretty thought-provoking.
Cool.
We've got a detailed biography
Okay.
that goes into his whole life and artistic journey.
Nice.
We've got, and this is interesting, a YouTube meditation.
Oh, wow.
It focuses on one of his art pieces. It's like a manatee.
Okay.
Also, some selections from books that feature his art and his writings.
Okay.
Some historical context, of course, and even insights from people who knew him.
So it's a pretty wide variety here. And what's the goal of this deep dive? What are we trying to achieve?
Basically, we want to get to the core of his artistic vision.
Okay.
See, we want to explore his philosophical leanings and see how all this incredibly diverse work, how it all connects.
Awesome. All right, well, let's jump right in.
Yeah.
One of the first quotes that really grabbed my attention was this one. He says, "Fortunately, some things remain forever, or another 10 years perhaps." It's such a simple statement, but it really makes you stop and think. We think about so much in our lives as permanent.
Yeah, you think about that, like some things remain forever, but then he just throws in, or another 10 years.
Right.
So he's making you think about, well, maybe impermanence, it's not like a final stop. It's
Yeah.
more of this ongoing cycle.
That totally connects to this other quote that really stuck with me. He says, "Three cottonwood trees, dense cluster of new branches. Now with them gone. Look." I mean, there's a real suddenness to that loss. It makes you aware of what's missing. But then there's that look at the end. What is he trying to get us to see?
Exactly. I mean, it makes you think when something familiar, when it's gone, it sharpens our focus, right?
Yeah.
The fact that there's this empty space, this void, well, it creates space for something else.
Oh, that's interesting.
Maybe something that was always there, but we just didn't notice it before.
Okay.
And that look, it feels like a sudden revelation, like, oh, wow, look what was here all along.
And then this one, oh man. It's a bit longer, but it's so good. He says, "As they approached, the memory of songs and music stopped at the moment the texture of its decay became visible to them. Sad how we all aged at that moment in time. Salt air summer, 1967. To me, it's like he's linking nostalgia with actually visually seeing things aging.
Yeah, I think if we step back a bit, what he's really saying is that even our memories decay, right? Those vivid sounds, they fade over time as the physical world shows its age. It's like this powerful metaphor. It's saying, look, our experiences, they're fleeting. And even our memories, well, they're tied to things that fade over time.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about Camblin's philosophical side. One of his quotes really stood out to me. He said, "Look into the atom, you get what you need. Look into magic, and you get what you need. Philosophy and art are in both." I mean, that's really saying that things we see as separate, science and magic, actually have some kind of underlying unity.
What Camblin's saying is we can find fundamental answers, or at least clues to those answers, through both scientific methods and exploring the mystical.
Oh, I see.
It's about seeking understanding using different approaches,
Okay.
which he seems to think are equally valid.
In another quote, he says, "I will stick with common sense and try for the perfectly average view of the universe. I think that will let me enjoy miracles on both sides of science and magic, and the nuances of the smear between the whiteness and the blackness, and hope that I can be around when the two meet in the near future and we have an intensely bright gray." I really like this idea of finding wonder in both the ordinary and the extraordinary.
Yeah, there's this wonderful optimism in his words. It's like he wants to find miracles in the everyday, but at the same time, he's completely open to those big, amazing, unexplainable things.
Absolutely.
And the image he uses, that bright gray, it's so striking, right?
Yeah.
It suggests that the boundaries between science and magic, between what we can explain and what we can't, well, they might blur.
Yeah.
And maybe when that happens, they'll illuminate each other in ways we can't even imagine right now.
Now, here's a really interesting one. He says, "The sixth sense is to be, without a doubt, senza dubio. No doubt." It's a really powerful statement. He seems so certain.
You're right. It's not like he's saying it's some special ability that only a few people have.
Right.
He's talking about unwavering certainty. Like, how much does our conviction shape what we see and understand?
In another quote, he says, "Bright day and I soar. How cruel that my soul is attached to this earth and yet." I sense almost a longing there, like he wants to transcend limitations, but he's still bound to reality.
Yeah, this idea of wanting to go beyond what we're capable of, it's a pretty common theme, you know? It's like
Yeah.
we all yearn for something more, even though we're tied to our physical existence.
There's a quote that feels very personal. He says, "I cannot tell a lie to myself for very long." Camblin, 1974. Find something in nature that completes you and then surrender. What do you make of this one?
It's like a confession almost. You know, he admits that it's really hard to fool yourself for very long.
Yeah.
And then the advice he gives to find something in nature and surrender to it, it seems like a path to inner peace, finding truth in the natural world.
And then there's this one, which feels like a distillation of his core philosophy. The light is all you need. The end is to evolve by doing the best you can. The means is to amplify what you're doing and believe.
Absolutely. You know, this really lays out a path for personal growth.
Yeah.
Like, we all need light, not just physically, but maybe knowledge and awareness too.
Okay.
And the best way to evolve, well, by striving to do our best and truly believing in what we're doing.
He also has this quote that feels a little more complex. In the balance, patience and yet. Freedom again, and yet, in silence, the reality can be maintained. What do you think is going on there with those pauses and those contrasting ideas?
He's putting these seemingly opposing forces together, patience and freedom, action and silence. It's like he's saying that understanding reality means finding a space where these things can coexist.
That's really interesting. There are a few quotes that seem to show how his views on art changed over time. Like he goes from art for art's sake to art for life's sake, or art for my sake, or art for survival's sake.
Oh, that's a really good point. You see this shift happening in his thinking.
Yeah.
And it kind of reflects what was going on in the art world at the time.
Right.
Yeah. At first, art was its own thing, you know, separate.
Mm-hmm.
But then it became more about personal experiences.
Okay.
About life itself, survival even.
Interesting. This next one really gives you a sense of his process. He says, step off the train of thought. To find the power that is no power. To do the work that is not work. To laugh the true laugh. Bending is not bowing. It feels very zen, very profound.
Absolutely. Like stepping off the train of thought suggests we need to move beyond that linear, rational way of thinking.
Yeah.
And the power that is no power and the work that is not work, those are all about effortless action, which is a very zen idea.
There's also this quote, "We missed the clouds, and for a moment regretted it. Then as lightning the mind ripped out in flashes of variations to reach the still pond." To me, this speaks about the constant flow of thoughts in our minds, and then finding a moment of peace.
It's like he's saying we miss those fleeting moments of beauty. You know, we're so caught up in our thoughts.
Right.
And then that sudden clarity, like a lightning flash, then stillness, that's what happens when our minds quiet down.
This next piece of advice is so direct, so Camblin. When you think, don't act. When you act, don't think. It seems like a call to be totally present in whatever you're doing.
It's like he's saying, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
You know, just do what you need to do without hesitation.
I love this little anecdote. He says, we talked of changing the world. He listened, then took 21 cents from his coin purse to pay for his coffee and left.
Yeah.
It's like a reality check, right?
It is. It shows that gap between our big ideas and what we actually do day to day.
He has a gift for observation. Check this out.
Mm.
The cosmos waves as me with tree leaves, sun-heated air moves across the electrons of my skin. Sunlight reflects those greens. First, white, then yellow-green, and in deep shadows, blue. It's like he's feeling the universe in every detail around him.
Absolutely. He's so attuned to the subtle ways he's connected to his surroundings.
Yeah.
Like the cosmos is right there, in the colors, the air, even the way the sunlight feels on his skin.
And then there's this. On the tower we set, facing the clouds, Act 1. The White Mountains, Act 2. The Cold Wind, Act 3. The Lightning. We leave before the show is over. The rain-soaked willows brought me to my senses. It's like a little play, a scene, but then they leave before it's over. I wonder why.
Maybe they found a different kind of meaning, you know, outside the spectacle of the lightning.
Oh, interesting.
It's like the rain-soaked willows, they brought him back to a more grounded experience.
This next one is so cool. He writes, he walked by so slow that my writing slowed, my heart and also the wind. You really feel how connected we all are.
It's beautiful, right? Just the presence of someone moving slowly had a ripple effect. Like we all influence each other and even the world around us in subtle ways.
Okay, last one from the quotes, and it's a doozy. He says, "There is one joy that exceeds all other, and that's all I'll say." Now, that just makes you want to know what he's talking about.
Right, it's the mystery of it. Not knowing exactly what he means makes it so much more powerful.
So much for Camblin being direct. He leaves us hanging. And now we have to go through all these other sources to try and figure out what he meant. Maybe we'll find clues in Brian's Sketchbook 6.
Okay, so we've got more of those really evocative observations, like, there, beneath those rocks, poor fish, trapped by the changing tides, so much like us. What a powerful image.
Yeah, that's relatable, right? Like we've all felt trapped by forces beyond our control at some point.
Totally. And there's this other one, kind of funny. It wouldn't be so bad to come back as a fly if you knew your body would shine in the sun that way.
It's so playful, like he's appreciating the beauty of even the smallest things.
Exactly. There's this kind of innocence to it. And then there's this. Darning needles sew shimmer-line tapestries of blue, green, and white bands.
Oh, wow. He takes something ordinary, a needle and thread, and turns it into art.
Right. Like suddenly it's this amazing magical tapestry. But then we get this bleached, textured in white, to taste and sight, pray ever, avoid the lamp fate. It's almost like a warning.
Yeah, kind of ominous, like don't be drawn to something that will destroy you.
You could see it that way. And then there's this canvas rectangle, summer light, calligraphy, mystic and complete.
He seems to be thinking about what it is that makes art complete.
It's like he's listing the ingredients, right?
Yeah.
But then there's that mystic, something more than just the physical parts.
Next we have Eater of Christians, Chimera Byzantium, warm, cold children's chair. What an odd combination of images.
Right. So much going on there, the monstrous, the historical, the ordinary. You could interpret it in so many ways.
And then San Gimignano, Calamari to Oblivion, strange ways of magic. It's random.
Like a snippet from a dream,
Yeah, like a postcard with just a few words on it. And then Fragile Grade Lady, now tiptoe, now skirts high, sidewise hasty retreat.
You wonder what she's running from, right?
Exactly. This next one is so sensory. Chalk, chalk, water tongue, chalk, chalk, sound of foot to stone, this marble island.
Oh, yeah, you can almost hear the water and feel the stone right there on that island.
He has a way with words. Check this out. Veil of August's heat weaves the artist dragonfly. Banyan trees are flat. I love that first part, but then what's with that declaration about banyan trees?
You think you know what you're going to get with him, and then, bam, he throws something unexpected at you?
Totally. Like he's making you question your assumptions about how things look. And then this. Fall. Wax and feathers. Flowers of burning petals. Ra. Icarus.
Oh, man, that's tragic. But so vivid, that image of Icarus falling from the sky.
And he continues with the Icarus theme. Feathered pharmacos. Between surrogate and sun Icarus depends. I wonder what he means by pharmacos.
It could be about those wings. They're artificial, but they also give him the ability to fly, so they're both remedy and poison at the same time.
Interesting. Now here's one that's just sweet. Oh, sandpiper, why do you dance at ocean's edge? Come, the water's fine.
It's like he's talking to the bird.
Yeah, like he's inviting it to share in the joy of the water. And then he notes this unusual sight. Summer, great black waves. One sees so seldom clearly. Oh, men pulling nets. That's such a powerful image.
Yeah, the power of nature on full display, And the men, they're working so hard against it.
He has this flash of color and sound. Green rocks, blue water, bright-colored Tiberians, piccato. Capredi.
You can almost feel the sun on those rocks, right? And hear the Italian voices.
Absolutely. And then this. Through purple leaves flash iridescent winged shadows, hide the sinking shell. It's so delicate and fleeting.
Yeah, like a secret moment of beauty that disappears almost as soon as you see it.
And then this very personal note. First child, glory be. 7 years deprived, my dear, for economy.
Oh, man, that's tough. The sacrifices you make for family.
He has this weird encounter with a mirror.
This strange mirror bright face cupped between my hands makes me seem so young.
Yeah, mirrors can be like that. They show us things we don't always expect. And sometimes those reflections can be unsettling. He puts these two concepts together. White magic, white lies. Thoughts of twisted limbs in mind. The hidden fears seen. What do you think he's getting at here?
Well, white magic, white lies, they both have this sense of deception, right? And then that image of twisted limbs, that hidden fear. Maybe he's saying that even things that look beautiful can be hiding something dark.
This next one is simple, but so profound. This egg in brown leaves has a great secret of mine, that nothing changes.
It's like he's found a symbol of that eternal truth, that even though things seem to change at a deeper level, everything stays the same.
He has such an imagination. Ragged wheels of silk, minuscule dragons observed by Buddha spiders.
It's so whimsical, you can almost see it in your mind, like a tiny world full of magic.
Okay, here's another one that made me laugh. This dragon never lived on paper or flowers. Well, perhaps next time.
You can't help but smile. He's so self-aware, like he knows he's playing with us.
Then we get this really stark image. Jawless monster, cold marble sundial of the church. Do the old men sleep? It's a bit ominous.
It makes you think about time passing, generations coming and going.
Yeah. And then this observation about nature's cycle. Weeds of last year crowd shaking with lavender. Spring winds are just the first sign.
Even in something that seems dead, there's the promise of new life.
This one feels a little mysterious. Blue pictures pulsing. The faded image breathes once. The tattooed hand waits. It's like a scene from a dream.
Yeah, and that waiting hand, what is it waiting for? It adds this element of suspense.
He has this interesting list. Seed pod, dragonfly, shriveled weed, or living thing, stirred by wind or God.
He's asking a really fundamental question, about the forces that animate life.
Then there's this. Blue bottle banquet. From the sea in summer come tide-washed necklaces.
It's beautiful how he takes something so ordinary, a piece of trash, and sees the beauty in it.
Okay, here's another one. Purple canals, golden palazzi. The rain muffles her crying.
You can feel the sadness in that scene. It's so vivid. You can practically see the golden buildings and hear the rain falling.
And then, along on longboat. Memory of summer walks, I hear this is gone.
Nostalgia, right. That bittersweet feeling of remembering something lost.
Okay, this one feels so true for any artist. The painted eye sees more than mine, and God damn it, I see nothing yet.
It's that frustration, of trying to capture something that's just beyond your grasp.
Yeah. And then he describes this strange device whirled by a figure of my mind. A beautiful dance. It's like a peek into his imagination.
You can tell he has a really active inner world.
This next one is just fun. Gargoyles gargling water from Gothic churches. You missed me that time.
It's so playful, like he's having a conversation with those stone creatures.
He finds this. Off the shore, fragments of a memory are found, bones of Icarus.
Even mythical figures leave traces behind.
Yeah. And sometimes those remnants can be powerful reminders of ambition and its consequences. This one is sensory in an unpleasant way. Hammock facing west. Fingers knit to block the sun become burning twigs. You can almost feel the pain.
It's like a physical manifestation of that intense heat, transforming something familiar into something painful.
He has a way of bringing philosophical ideas down to earth. Nostalgia, like guests and fish, shouldn't be kept too long. The dredging of memory should only function if it serves to jog the archetype crevices of the reptilian brain. I never thought of it that way.
It's a little cold, but there's also truth to it. Nostalgia can be nice, but if we dwell on it too long, it loses its power.
I like this declaration. The artist today is the only free agent. He is not committed except so much as he desires it.
He's asserting the importance of artistic independence, right? The artist shouldn't be bound by anything other than their own vision.
And he seems open to new ways of experiencing art. We may be moving to a participatory type of art. That's pretty radical.
It suggests that the lines between artist and audience are blurring, and that the viewer might become more actively involved in the creation of art.
He has this really provocative equation. Religion is bullif. If I believe in ghosts, I don't have to see one.
Mm-hmm.
If I believe it's art, then it is. If I believe that I am completely convinced, then I can't be convinced. I'm not. It really gets you thinking about how much our beliefs shape our reality.
Yeah, it's saying that our convictions, our beliefs, well, they can be powerful forces.
He lists these things that can both help and hinder.
Yeah.
Faith can aid and hinder. So can discipline. So can communication. So can being Camblin circa 1968. I wonder why he includes being.
Well, being could mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
It could be about our state of mind, our presence, or maybe even just existing in a particular place and time.
Okay, now this one is interesting. Art is and it isn't, and now everyone knows. Love art. Seems kind of sarcastic, that knows.
He's questioning this idea that love and art are the same thing. Like maybe it's become too simplified,
He makes this really important distinction. If experienced, no description is necessary, but often making out is confused with love, and feeling good is not always art. He's calling for something more genuine,
Yeah.
more meaningful.
Right. It's about going beyond superficial experiences and really connecting with something deeper.
He gives this instruction. Resist and submit, held in perfect balance. Sounds a bit like a martial arts move.
Uh-huh, yeah. But really, he's talking about a kind of equilibrium, right? A balance between opposing forces.
He has this whole sequence called Figure 4 that's pretty cryptic. 4 times into the thing and 3 times back again, stay out the last if lucky. 4 times the trap is sprung and 3 times the quarry flees, changing bait the last time. 2 times the figure 4 and multiply my mistakes the last time to infinity. It feels like he's talking about the struggle to break free from something.
Yeah, it's like this endless cycle of being trapped and escaping. But maybe the real escape is learning from those experiences.
Now this is a great one. When understood, all truth is funny. I've never thought of it that way before.
It's like when you finally get something, you can see the humor in it, right? You're not so attached to it anymore.
He gives us this great advice. Don't let the demon of being right get in. Flow, and think of what you are doing, not what you plan to do. Step off the train of thought.
He's saying let go of your ego.
Yeah, be in the moment.
And trust your intuition.
And then this wry observation. Historians love artistic madness when it isn't alive and well and attending meetings.
It's like we celebrate artists for their eccentricity, but only after they're on. When they're alive, it can be threatening.
He encourages us to broaden our perception.
Right.
We can train ourselves to open instead of close the circuits of perception.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that we're not stuck with how we see things. We can learn to be more open, more receptive.
This next one really struck me. Believing and knowing are different. Most people practice a belief or a religion they were raised in. Something else. They remain connected to a faith or abandon it. But they have been somewhere, and logic won't make the trip. One must look for the balance of intuition and logic.
He's pointing to this deeper level of understanding. You know, the kind that goes beyond what you were taught or what you can reason out.
And he makes this surprising statement. History is believable when it is creative. It's like he's saying that a good story is more compelling than just the facts.
He's challenging this idea that history is purely objective. You know, maybe there's always some interpretation involved.
This is a great one to wrap up this section. Awareness can soften the shock. Familiarity allows us to participate. Creativity allows us to go beyond. It's a nice progression.
It shows how we can move from being surprised by something to actually engaging with it and then finally creating something new from it.
Camblin really did not like cynicism. He says, cynicism is a type of creativity gone destructive and ego-oriented. I wonder what he'd think about the internet today.
Yeah, he might have a thing or two to say about that. He really believed in a positive form of creativity.
There's this really beautiful quote that speaks about slow growth and acceptance. Pushing up. Slowly as a tree growing effort of will, see the master heaping up of small things. No blame.
It's about patience, right? And not being too hard on yourself. Just keep working and things will grow.
Now here's one that makes me laugh. Draw, teach, search, reveal, always framed in paradox. He's such a trickster.
He loves to play with ideas to make you think.
In this next quote, he really criticizes the art world of his time. He says, one must go back to the unknown and naive approach to art. We have been seduced by history, critics, and a very affluent but weird culture. There are no nuances remaining in the world. Identification is the aesthetic. Pass quickly into the next slide, please. It's a bit harsh, but I wonder if he has a point.
I think he felt that art was becoming too superficial, too concerned with trends and what critics were saying. He wanted something more authentic.
It's like that analogy he uses. A critic is a legless man who teaches running. He's not pulling any punches.
It's a pretty brutal way of saying that you can't really judge something unless you've experienced it yourself.
I like this observation about our need to create. Innate need to make marks before weapons need and enjoyment. As children, letters and numbers from pictures nonverbal in a time of many words.
It's true, right? Even before we had language, we were making marks. It's a fundamental human impulse.
Okay, next up, intention, forced. Studies quantity, not quality. It's a critique of art that's all about producing a lot without really caring about what's being made.
It's that classic quantity versus quality argument applied to the art world.
This next one makes me smile. He says, artists help historians the same way adults help children look for Easter eggs. I like that image of artists hiding little surprises for people to find later on.
He's saying that art has these hidden layers of meaning that can be uncovered over time.
He also talks about the downside of being too skilled. Facilities like the Midas touch.
It's like saying that if you're too good at something, it can lose its magic.
And he makes a good point here. There must be a correlation between the emptiness of some art and the efforts of critics and historians to fill it. It's a bit cynical, but it makes sense. Sometimes it feels like critics are trying too hard to find meaning where there is none.
It's like they need to justify their own existence.
Okay, this next one is a little out there. He says, the visual arts have finally become non-visual. Zazen, the aimless mind focuses itself.
He's connecting this trend in art where the concept is more important than the visual with the practice of Zen meditation.
That's a new way of thinking about it. This next piece of advice is really good. Play the game as if your life depended on it. Why fear and doubt in a harmless course like drawing? He's encouraging us to be fearless in our creative pursuits.
It's like, what do you have to lose? Just go for it and have fun.
He lists these different types of drawing. There are action experiment drawings for discoveries on paper. There are slow analytic drawings for discoveries in the world. There are conceptual drawings for the discoveries in your mind. Emphasis on the drawing as nonverbal. Emphasis on the concept as nonverbal. It's interesting how he sees drawing as a way of thinking, not just making pretty pictures.
Absolutely. He's really breaking down those different approaches and emphasizing how drawing can be this powerful tool for exploring ideas, even those that are hard to put into words.
Okay, now here's another comparison. He says words are natural in a haiku. The idea is simple in a haiku. The reaction is more. Like a haiku can evoke so much emotion in just a few words.
Exactly. It's about that unspoken response, the way a haiku makes you feel things that you can't quite articulate.
Now he's telling us to find our intuition. He says one must find his own mystic switch, the rising hackle or the visceral knot. This is a truth, but it changes.
He's saying that everyone has their own way of tapping into that inner wisdom.
And he gives us more of his paradoxical advice. One must learn not to look, but to see. One must try to fail in order to succeed. Success will be another failure. Process and awareness of it cannot be failure. It's like he's turning everything on its head.
He wants us to think differently, to challenge those conventional ideas about success and failure. Maybe it's all part of the process.
Here he goes again with his language theory. Writing started as pictures nonverbal communication. Our syntax inhibits concepts that are not logical and linear.